Okay, I'm just going to jump right in here and get started for today. I hope everybody's doing really well today. I feel great. I feel pumped. I'm so glad to be here. I was a part of the Rethinking Church, the inaugural event in July, and it is an honor to be invited to come back and share more on a topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is mental health. So, before we start, whenever we're in a church or a spiritual presence, and I think we should be doing it any time, we should start with prayer. So let's all bow our heads and let's just open up with prayer and let God direct this time that we are together today. So we can bow our heads. Thank you, God, for this gathering here today, for all of us coming together, and for everybody who is here and desiring some information about how to cultivate mental wellness. Please, Lord, work through me and allow me a chance to share what people are actually coming in today to get. Whatever that may be, whether that is what I planned out or if you want to use me and talk and share something completely different. Thank you, God. In Jesus' name, amen. So before I go any further, I am going to share just a little bit about me. And while I do that, I want you guys to go ahead and tell me where you're from. Your names are already there, but tell me where you are coming from here today, because I know this time, this presentation is often people from all over the world. So a little about me. First of all, I'm not big. We've got North Carolina in the house. I'm not really big oftentimes sharing about myself, but you got to wonder who is this person sharing stuff and what even qualifies them to share with me today. So I'm Dr. Catherine Jackson. First and foremost, I am a child of and a servant of God. But what qualifies me to share with you today is I work and serve in a role as a licensed clinical psychologist and a board-certified neurotherapist. I own Optimal Neuroholistic Services, a private practice that gives therapy to people who either have insurance that's not readily accepted by other places or who are looking for affordable care for less money. So that it doesn't cost like hundreds and hundreds of dollars for each session. I'm also the founder of Dr. J's Holistic Health and Wellness, a nonprofit organization, the host of Your Holistic Way with Dr. J podcast, and a recent author. Yay, thanks to God. The book is called The Couch Experience, A Guide to Good Therapy. And so that is what I'm going to be talking about a lot today. How to cultivate good mental wellness. I work to help people rewire their brains, their mindset, and their nutritional habits in order to think and feel better. And I absolutely love what I do with patients one-on-one, but even though I'm an introvert, I get out here and I speak because that's a way to reach more people, and by reaching more people, to break down a lot of the stigma that is around mental health. We can go to the next slide. So let's talk a little bit about stigma. I was able to, or some perpetuating beliefs that keep us from cultivating mental wellness. The first time I talked a lot about these as well. So it's stigma. Your church can kind of hold you back because we rely too much on the church, and some things are better handled by somebody else outside of the church. Lack of knowledge, not knowing where to find resources, not knowing that issue is present at all. Spiritual weakness or a lack of faith, or thinking that is, getting help or tending to your mental wellness is a form of spiritual weakness or a lack of faith. There's all kinds of assumptions lack of understanding. People feel like if they do something towards their mental health, rather than just simply waiting for God to take care of it for them, that is a rejection of God. Sometimes your family and friends will hold you back, and then some conflicting beliefs between psychology and spirituality or God, and then God heals. That's one of the biggest ones that I get. God does heal. There is no question about that. He has done a lot of healing in my life and in the lives of people that I love. But oftentimes, God will place people here to help you with that healing. If you break your leg and you need surgery, you're going to pray to God to help you through that, for Him to work through that surgeon and to help you through to your healing. The same is true when you're reaching out for mental wellness support and for mental wellness resources to help you through. Next slide. I'm just going to highlight some of the places where we're coming from. We got Virginia, New York, North Carolina. Welcome everybody from all around the U.S. There are also some myths that keep us from really tending to our mental wellness. And one of those myths is that mental illness is a result of sin. It's not. It's so like so many other things that happen in life. Sometimes, kids are born with cancer. Where does that come from? That's not a result of sin, and neither is mental illness or any mental health concern. Another myth is that mental illness means you are possessed by demons, and it does not. It's just something we all go through. Everybody goes through something at some point in their lives, and some people have things that are going on that are more persistent or go on throughout the duration of their lives. And myth number 3, mental illness means you have not accepted Christ as your Savior. I know a whole bunch of people who have a mental health condition. They are managing that mental health condition, and they are also Christians who are saved. And so that one is untrue as well. Next slide. And then here are some of the stats. I think stats are important for us to note. And so I won't go through all of these stats right now because I really want to get to the richness at the end of the actual digital mental wellness resources. But there are 1 in 4 people who have a mental health concern. 23% of the pastors have gone through some kind of mental illness themselves. And then with all of this going on, there are about 50% of people or churchgoers, believers want their churches to talk about mental health concerns more at church. And so there's the desire out there. We all want it, we're all thinking about it, and we all need it. And so what does the Bible say? So that's the most important part. What is the Bible saying about our mental wellness? Or what in the Bible kind of supports what us reaching out to tend to our mental wellness and to reach out to a mental health professional? Proverbs 19:20 says, "Listen to the advice and receive discipline, that you may become wise by the end of your life." Proverbs 12:15 says, "A stubborn fool considers his own way the right one, but a person who listens to advice is wise." And then Proverbs 15:22 says, "You were taught with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your mind." And that's mental health in your mind. And put on your new self, created to be. This one is Ephesians 4:22-24. I'm sorry. But you're created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And then Proverbs 15:22. Sorry, I skipped a little. Plans fail for the lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. So, reaching out and caring for your mental wellness or having some people who help to support that, that is not a bad thing. And I believe God even supports that. Next slide. So now the digital resources. So I want to spend more time on the digital resources, but maybe before I go into it, I want to ask a quick question. What are some things that you do for your mental wellness? And I'm just going to wait for a few answers in the chat box. Thank you, Dr. Bell. So I'm just waiting. I'm going to repeat the question. I would love to hear. So A. Edwards says that, I don't know if it's he or she, but says that they journal. What else do people do? Therapy, journaling, hiking. She. Okay, she journals. Therapy, hiking, that nature. That nature is really good. And the movement. I'll take a couple more, and then I'm going to delve into some things that we can do, some digital resources, because there are some face-to-face resources, and there are some things that you can find online, which is particularly needed in this day and age. Okay, I don't see any more coming through, so I'm going to go right on into it. So I'll start first with therapy because I'm a therapist. So I'm going to start with some of the digital resources for therapy. And the first one is telehealth or teletherapy, or they call it online counseling. There's a whole lot of names for it. And online therapy directories. So right now, or when the pandemic started, it feels like pretty much every therapist went to offering services online. And so where before you had to try to really coordinate your time of if can I get there, how long will it take to get there, all the traffic and so on and so forth. Now you can have therapy in the comforts of your own home or your job, or for people who are still vacationing at this time, you can have therapy even while you're on vacation or in your lunch hour. So it is made easier now more than ever before to get therapy than in the past. In the past, it wasn't really supported to have telehealth or to have teletherapy, but if any good comes out of the pandemic for this particular topic, that is the biggest good, because now I believe the whole field sees how important it is to offer services and make therapy more accessible for everybody. And so I listed a couple of different therapy directories right here that you can find online as we're talking about the digital resources. One is Clinicians of Color, which has a lot of therapists of color, of all types of color throughout the whole US. And then there's Therapy Den, which is a more general resource. So you're going to find clinicians of all races who have all different types of specialties and all different types of experiences. And then Psychology Today, which is also another general one where nearly all therapists are listed. And then there are therapy memberships. So therapy memberships are where you pay a fee per month, and you can probably pay for one whole year at a time and get a certain rate. And then you don't have to worry about like paying your amount for each session. You've paid it, it's out the way. And then I listed a couple of resources for that. We have online counseling directory, Doctor on Demand, and Inclusive Therapists. So those are places that offer online memberships where you pay for a certain amount of time. It's a membership, like usually it's monthly, and you can get the therapy that you need, and so many services will come with that. And then there's therapy apps for all the new age people. Mostly a lot of younger people love the therapy apps. And I highlighted three therapy apps that you could try or use. It's pretty similar with the therapy membership, except that you're buying your therapy in a group. So you're going to pay for, say, like 4 sessions, and you can spread them out whichever way you want. And you have a certain rate, and usually it's more affordable than the hourly rates when you're working with a therapist individually. So there's all kind of options out here, digital options out here for getting therapy and tending to your mental wellness. These are just, like, I just gave 3 for each of those sections, but there are many, many more out there. And I'll tell you some places where you can find more information on more of the resources for therapy apps, therapy memberships, and finding online therapy at the end of this time. And then there is one more that I'm going to highlight. It's called COA. And they have a group of therapists on there that do group therapy. And it's all online, and they cover various topics. So if you're looking for digital resources, you're looking for a therapist, and you desire to have online therapy during this phase in all of our lives, where online therapy is much safer right now than having face-to-face therapy. Even though things are starting to change, the vaccine is starting to come out, it will take a while before we're back into full swing. In fact, for most of us, March 16th was the beginning of having to pivot in nearly every area of our lives. Much of the world was shut down, and through 2020, even though 2020 has ended, we are still in the midst of the pandemic, and it may be much longer until we're back to like normal life, if we ever get back to the normalcy that we had beforehand. So having these resources and knowing where to get them if you need them or if your loved one needs them really comes in handy. And that way you don't have to feel like you're scrambling to get them. Any questions about that? I feel like I went through that pretty quick. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. So next slide, we should be on apps. So digital resources for apps. Sometimes, we go through things, maybe talking to somebody is helpful, or maybe it's just not feasible. It can be helpful, but maybe it's not feasible right now, or talking to somebody may be helpful, but you don't feel like you need that much at this point. Then here are a few apps that can help you with your mental wellness. Some of them you may already know about, some of them you may not. But Headspace is a meditation app. So is Calm. And Calm is really nice because it has a different way of breathing. It's not guided, whereas Headspace is a guided meditation. So if you need somebody to kind of help you with the meditation, you tend to get off and your mind tends to wander too much, maybe guided meditation is better. And if you're like me and you don't like too much of a disruption, maybe the Calm app is better because they have a lot of meditations that are unguided. You just hear a noise, and that indicates when you breathe in, and then you hear another noise that indicates when you breathe out. Another cool thing about the Calm app is that it has journaling features in there and other resources to track your mood, how you're feeling, and so on and so forth. So if you're not feeling like you are ready or truly need a therapist at this point, but you know that you need to tend to your mental wellness, some of these apps may be good for you. The Breathe app is another meditation app that breathing in and releasing the breath so that you can ignite or induce a state of calm. And Black girls in Om, there are so many. There are so many meditations that are voiced and done by white people. Nothing's wrong with that. But sometimes we like to have people that look like us or who sound like us. And so Black Girl in Om is all done by Black women. And you could follow along with a meditation with them. Shine is similar, but it has a whole bunch of other resources, not just meditation. It will have trackers and journals and things to help you to promote more mental wellness. And then you could also use the White Noise app. I like the White Noise app because it has not just your traditional white noise, like a white noise machine, but you can have all kinds. You can pick your sound, like crackling fire, or kind of like the water sound, which is really calming. And I love that sound when I go on vacation. So these are some of the digital resources for mental wellness for apps. If you're looking for an app to help support your mental wellness, and at times where you find yourself feeling a little bit more stress or your mood has taken a little bit of a dip, deep breathing and meditation are really, really great for your brain. It helps to rewire the brain, and it helps to calm down the brain, which then uh, trickles down to your nervous system and calms you internally throughout your whole body. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to keep going. And so we can go to the next slide. So more digital resources. Here are some additional online resources. So these didn't fit neatly into any of the other categories that I've already talked about. We as humans go through a plethora of different things. Some of those things might fit neatly into working with either your pastor or fit neatly into working with a therapist, and some things do not. And so I added and included anonymous groups. A lot of anonymous groups are online currently. Some of them have always been online. And so if you are needing the support of any anonymous group, so it can be alcohol, it can be for overeating, it can be for drugs, it can be for so many different things besides just AA, so Alcoholics Anonymous. There are a number of different anonymous groups that you can join and get support to help maintain or stay stable with your mental wellness. Because if those things are off, then naturally you're going to feel off in a lot of different areas in your life. And even with this prolonged pandemic, turning to drugs, turning to alcohol, turning to food in an unhealthy way is not the best way to handle any mental concern that comes up. So reach out for that support. There is a place called Her Next Chapter. I work really closely with the organization, and they offer an array of different things to women. I'm sorry, guys, this one is just for the ladies, but they have financial coaches, parenting coaches, spiritual coaches, nutrition coaches, and so on and so forth. You name it, they are covering every aspect of your life. It is very similar to therapy memberships because it's a monthly membership. You pay one set fee for the month, and you have access to all of the coaches there and all of the different topics. And then you could check out different mental health blogs. I have a mental health blog, and nearly every therapist I know also has a mental health blog. And everybody's sharing some really, really good information on their blogs. And so if you're looking for some information, or you feel like, even for people who are in therapy and you feel like you just need a little bit more support, or you need a little bit more information or some education on something, check out some of the mental health blogs that are online that will give you some of the information to help support your mental wellness, your mental well-being. And then there are a plethora of mental wellness related books. A lot of them fall under the category of self-help books, but the ones that I know that are written by therapists specifically, the way that these authors pour into their books, they're really just sharing what they normally would share in sessions with their patients or their clients one-on-one, but now they're offering that information for one low rate for the cost of the book to anybody, to everybody. And so read up on the captions or the descriptions of the books. See if it's something that you think would pertain to you when you're looking for some support with your mental wellness. And then snag the book, read it, and do some of what is offered within the book. There are some books that I could even note right now. There is a self-care journal by Ronalda. I'm missing her last name right now. She will beat me up because we're friends. But her first name is Ronalda, and she has a self-care journal and self-care cards, which goes to my next point with mental wellness products. For Black women, there are there are 2 or 3 different affirmation cards made by Black women for Black women. And there's a book all about relationships that I think everybody would love called Hard Work or Harmony if you're having some issues within your communication. And that's with anybody. It can be your relationship with your spouse or partner. It can be a relationship with your boss or coworkers. It can be a relationships within your family. And so there's all kinds of products. I just highlighted 3 products and books. I just highlighted 3 such things, but there are so many more. And if you're looking for support, a simple Google search will help you to find and get connected to some of the resources that you want or need. And ask your friends too. While mental health is not something that is still really, really, really loudly talked about, it is improving, it is getting better, but it's still not always shared. So if you have friends or family members that you trust, you can always ask somebody, well, what do you do? And if they might mention some resources that would be helpful for you, a book that they've read or some products that they've used. I can go to the next one. So it takes faith to recognize when you need support, recognize when you need to slow down and do something. Hi, Miss Bernice. It takes faith to know when you need these things. It's not a sign of weakness. If you notice that something's off, it is much better to tend to it now in the moment than to allow it to get worse. I doubt that many of us would see like something growing on like our foot or our toe and not get it addressed and not go get it looked at the doctor, with the doctor or the medical doctor. So do the same with your mental wellness. Tend to your mental well-being like you would any other part of your life, and pencil it in on your schedule like you do anything else that is important to you. Take time to hike, like one person mentioned earlier. Take time to seek out and work with a therapist. Take time to journal. Take time to meditate or do deep breathing. All of these things will help to support your mental wellness so that you are operating at your best. And so just to finish what I wrote here, it takes time to reach out for help. It takes faith to reach out for help. It takes faith to remain committed to therapy or to tend to your mental wellness. It takes faith to do the work to heal. And it takes faith to trust God during any adversity. And I can't think of a bigger adversity recently than the pandemic. And so we all want to make sure that we are being at our best. And so what are some of the benefits of mental wellness if I haven't drove this one home enough? Mind, body, and spirit connection. The more our lives are aligned and we have more continuity throughout the different parts of our lives, the better off that we are. It also helps all of us to know ourselves better when we're tending to ourselves mentally and to our mental well-being. You're better able to strengthen your faith, and you know yourself a lot better. And then another benefit is that it's a way of becoming closer to God. I think when people think about therapy or tending to their mental wellness, they think it's, like I said earlier, it's kind of like in opposition. The two are separate, but the two are together. We can have God and we can have therapy. We can have God and we can tend to our mental wellness too. And oftentimes, when you do the deep work to heal some of the stuff that's in the way, you're better able to see God and connect with God because you've moved all the other junk out of the way. Okay. And then I have a free gift for you guys. We can go to the next slide. Two slides, the one with the gift. I already covered the other one. I think I forgot to say go to that one. That's okay. And so for everybody who showed up today, there's two ways that you can get it. You can go straight to the link that I have here. It's a bit.ly link, bit.ly/owns tips, and you will get my resource on, it's a quick sheet, like a quick tips on a guide to good therapy should you decide to reach out for therapy with a therapist face-to-face or online. The guides will apply either way. Or if you know somebody who might need it, this will help to walk them through the process really quickly of things to look for when they're going through the whole process of therapy. And so you can go straight to that link. You're going to wait for about 15 seconds. It loads really, really slow. I'm just going to be honest. And then when it pops up, you just want to complete that form and you will have immediate access to this free gift for you. Or you can put your email in the comment box. I will take your email down and then I will send you one by Monday, the 25th. So either way, whatever works best for you, I would love to give you guys this therapy cheat sheet or this therapy quick tips free gift. And so as I said before, we can go to the next slide. I said I was going to talk about some way that you can hear more information about the different like AA groups, about the different therapy, online therapy, or just therapy directories, and so on and so forth. And this is where you can get it. In my own new book, I went through all the work for you. You don't have to go searching around for this information. It's all in the book, including some nice forms at the back to help you through the process of finding and sticking with a good therapist. And you can grab your copy soon. It should be out, God willing, and ready for purchase in February. And as we're all in the new year in 2021, let's focus on a new focus. So let's include our mental health within that focus for ourselves. And then we can go to the next slide. And now I just wanted to leave a little room for any questions for everybody. I'm going to keep talking and just rambling on if there's no questions. Okay, then I'll ask you guys a question. Where do you normally go to look um, for mental wellness resources? What are some of the resources that you use, digital mental wellness resources? So early we talked about some things that we do for mental wellness. Um, I do a lot of meditation and deep breathing. I love to read the Bible. I don't even let my feet touch the floor before doing a little Bible study and devotional. Let's see. I think I have a question. I do not have a question, but a comment. Okay. um, okay. I'm going to read it out loud if that's okay with you. Remaining committed to seeing my therapist in the beginning was a struggle for me. I really thought I only needed to go for 6 months. Where did the 6 months come from? Uh, and almost 2 years, 2 years later, I still laugh at myself about it. Well, has it been helpful? If you're sticking with it for two years, I think it's been pretty good to you. And I think that's one of the misconceptions. You bring up a really good point. I think a lot of people think like, oh, I'm only gonna go for like, and you gave it 6 months. That was great. A lot of people think, oh, I just need like 10 sessions. Where they come up with the numbers, I don't know. Therapy is a process. It didn't, whatever is the issue didn't happen in like two or 10, 10 things. And so it's not going to go away in 10 sessions. It takes some time to undo it and really to delve into what is going on and what brought about that thing and what led you to develop maybe some not so positive habits. Yes, it's a yeah. She must be good. I'm assuming it's a she. Your therapist must be good though, because you're still with them for two years, and I'm sure you're not working on the same stuff that you were working on in the very beginning. And so it's nice to have the support. Yes, she is. And she looks like you. Yes. Since you're bringing up all the topics, I'm gonna keep talking about them until they kick me off this stage. I think that is important too, and I'm really not trying to pub up the book. I wrote the book as a labor of love because I had gotten so many direct messages and text messages from people asking me about where they can find a therapist, where they could find a therapist that looks like them, or where they could find a therapist with some unique qualities. And there's a whole chapter within the book uh, about unique things that you may want to look for in your therapist. And for a lot of Black women, myself included, having somebody that looks like me is very important. One of the things that in a conversation recently that was noted, and I don't know why people think I'm superwoman and that I could crusade this mission, but they told me that I should make a big push for this. So I'm going to put this here on this recording because it's that important of a topic, that there are far fewer women, not women, men, Black men therapists or Black male therapists uh, in mental health. And so, whereas I and I'm going to botch your name, I think Dinka, Dinka. I hope I got it right. Where I and Dinka value having somebody that looks like us. We get like a Black woman, and we get somebody who's Black, right? So we get a woman and somebody who's Black. Sometimes that thing is harder to find for men. It's harder for men in general, but definitely for men who are Black men, because there are far fewer Black male therapists. I call them unicorns sometimes when I see them because it's so hard to find. I only have a couple more minutes if anybody wants to leave a question or a comment. Okay. So I guess this is about it. And I have really enjoyed the conversation. I hope something that I shared here was really helpful today. Um, if not directly for you, I hope it was helpful for somebody else in your life who may need these kind of resources, or who may be looking for some extra support with their mental wellness. And then another question came in. What was the title of the book? Hard Works. Which book? My book is The Couch Experience, A Guide to Good Therapy. And for the relationships, the book was called Hard Work or Harmony. And for people who want the self-care, I can look her up really quickly. But the self-care journal and the self-care cards, which are amazing, I use them for myself. I use one every weekend and do whatever's on the self-care cards every weekend, and I have integrated them into some of my treatment with patients. The self-care book is by Ronalda. Yep, Hard Work, yep, by Keandra Jackson, for the relationships, and that book has been selling off the shelves. is doing really great. And then the self-care one, her name is Ronalda. I wish I knew Ronalda's last name. And then there are Black affirmation cards by two different women of color. One's name is Linnea Crawford, and the other one, I don't know her name, but they are called My Therapy Cards, and it's created by a Black woman, a doctor within the mental health field. And I'm going to get Ronalda's name because her stuff is amazing. So just give me a second. It's Ronalda C. I can't pronounce her last name, but it is a self-care journal, and her company is called A Solution B. And that's where you could purchase that if you're interested in her self-care manual. I have a lot of cool friends, and I just touched on 3 of them with products and books. But that relationship book is really good. Is that, no, I still got one more minute. So I hope something here that was shared was, and speaking of digital resources, you can get those books in digital format. So you can get the hard copy. I'm a hard copy, old school kind of girl. But you can get them in digital format too, which makes it really easy. You get the books really instantly for the young lady who is looking for the relationship book by Keandra Jackson. And we are of no relation. She is not a family member of mine, but she is an amazing woman. Great. But thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing too. And so I hope this presentation has helped somebody in some way. Even if it's just one person, then my time here was well worth it. And I look forward to checking out some of the other presentations today, and hope everybody has a really amazing day. You're welcome, Ms. Edwards. That's what I showed up for. I was hoping something here would be really helpful. And my website is drcatherinejackson.com. So it's my name, Dr. Catherine with a C, and Jackson.com. Please send me a note if you get that book and let me know how that book worked out for you. Not my book, but her book. Let me know how that worked out for you. If you get my book, great. But I'm not here to sell my book. I want you guys to get the resources that you need for your wellness. And I know cool people who have written about a lot of stuff. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get off the stage because I know somebody else will be presenting next. And this has been my honor and my joy sharing here today, and hope that it really helps everybody. You guys take care.